It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's Tias.
And that's Sasha.
I think we did it.
We did.
Yeah. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show live on Adobe Radio. Every week it's the best, but I don't know. Mercury's in Gatorade, and I tend to have some technical difficulties sometimes.
You got this.
Here and there.
You got this.
We do our best, but sometimes things just go wrong, and I knew technology wouldn't be working in our favor. But the thing is with like live radio is that you won't know that it's going wrong until you're live.
Well, yeah.
That's why, in the words of the great, who is it? Bill O'Reilly. Fuck it, we're going live. Just kidding. He's not great, but it's true.
Well, it's true. Yeah.
You kind of just you throw caution to the wind, and you hope that the technology gods are with you, and they were.
Every time. It's 3, 2, 1, and go.
And go.
And once you hit go.
And in the digital age, it is much. I mean, clearly we're in the, we get to do this wherever. It's beautiful how we get to do this, but it also because it's so much easier. There's stuff that goes wrong and I don't even know. We won't be broadcasting and I'll have no idea.
There's a lot of
there's no red light.
There's a lot of moving
from back
parts
in the digital
to this
age
thing.
or the analog age that would kind of show up.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we're on there. We're here. We're on Adobe Radio. Thank you, Adobe, as usual. We love you so much. And follow us on Twitter at Cool Nerd Weed and everywhere else at Cool Nerd Weed Show. Okay. My mouth may not work today.
Here, I got something for you.
Thank you. That will help. These are really good. Tell us what they are. Me.
Oh,
Tell
they
me what they
are
and us.
artisanal mini blunts by
But it's not blunts. They're just calling it that.
Well, yeah, it's a hemp wrap. I don't know what they do to it. It's quite delicious.
Yeah, how do they make it taste like a blunt?
It's a lot of these companies, and one of them told me, and I don't know if they probably all do the same thing, is that they actually they toast or bake the hemp wrap, so it kind of brings out the flavors of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I think these are from the makers of the same people that make the Cannagar.
Oh.
It's and this is s'mores. It's like the flour in here is it's tasty, right?
I think so.
It's gelato s'mores.
I really like these.
Which I haven't seen s'mores in a long time, really. We used to like the s'mores.
We did.
It's like it was all the good parts of the Girl Scout cookie.
Yes. And I've been taking little mini hits because of my little baby lungs. And I don't want to cough into the mic, as I so often do. But these really get you nice and toasty.
Yes, they do.
I really like these. I would buy them. I should have asked you to buy them.
Well,
if you carry them at the place of your employment.
They came across my desk, and they're delicious. They're delicious. We don't get paid here for this. This is just
we don't get paid for literally anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is just honesty.
No, well, it's true. If we got paid, we would tell you that we were getting paid because that is the ethical thing to do. And to BH, it's hard to get paid when you're doing a podcast for weed.
Oh yeah,
in terms of weed people that will give you money. Like some people are like, well, why isn't fucking Wolves just follow like sponsor you, or why isn't the biggest cannabis and it's because it's just not how it works. It's hard for even huge cannabis influencers to get sponsorships and monies. So just so you know, I don't know if the nerds, our fellow nerds, know that. Whenever we're talking or reviewing about anything, it is so not because we're getting money for it from anybody. Ever. And we'll tell you, we'll say,
yes.
When we say brought to you by, we literally mean the reason why we're able to say words is because this weed helped us do that. So it doesn't mean like MeUndies or whatever other podcasts do. We'd love for MeUndies to sponsor us.
Yeah,
I think they actually
sure.
have a weed leaf or something design. We love that. It's a little bit harder to get it's coming though. I mean, it's coming. We know it's coming. We know it'll be around the bend. It's just right now we get it. We understand the logistics of it are a little bit more difficult than like a big, huge national brand giving us money. So when we talk about our blends, and we would love to be sponsored, but it's okay that we're not.
It's just like, it's just out of love.
Exactly. That's the community. That's why you never hear TS and I lament, even privately, if you bugged us, you would never hear us talk about how we don't get sponsored or monies. Again, would we not love that? Of course. But from the weed industry in particular, our 420 homie who not sponsored us, but hooked us up, like laced us up on 420.
Old Pal.
No.
Ganja Gold.
Yeah, Ganja Gold. I mean, Old Pal always, but yeah, Ganja Gold.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've had a very long day, so my brainsies is doing little things.
Sounds like Anja.
Yeah,
old.
I'm like pointing to my nose, like giving him like charades, which is great for radio. But yeah, Ganja Gold, like. Yeah, he came through, like hooked us up, laced us up for 420. We like gave him all the love because he deserved all the love, and he gave us all the love because he loves us. So it was like a mutual, this is awesome, like thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you for the love, and also like a mutual respect for us, where it's like he knew, we're honest and that we love his shit and we would talk about it. And it was not like, will you know what I mean? Or could you? No. From either end ever.
Not
it really
all.
Isn't.
No.
And if it is, like you'll hear it in our tone. You'll know it's a hashtag ad. Unless
honest. It says right on the billboard, honest.
It does. That is one of the words that we use to describe our show. We should get to our topic, but we have a few topics to talk about today. We're gonna end the show with like good news, but we're gonna start it with like some like kind of, it's going to be like a free flow discussion kind of the state of the world, because like cannabis news happens quickly and also very slowly at the same time. So it could be that like we're just talking about the MORE Act for the last 8 weeks, and then all of a sudden we're like, wait, like Amazon's getting in on this, so we're going to get to like the big things like Amazon and stuff like that, but we want to talk about, I came across an article about how really the logistics of decriminalization and descheduling and so on and so forth may be a little bit of a landmine for the cannabis industry, because the logistics of it's just different than any other industry that's ever gone mainstream. It's different than like big tech, it's different than big tobacco, it's different than big alcohol, it's different than big vape. Like it's different than anything, I think.
There's a lot of moving parts to this federal, however it's going to go, decriminalization, rescheduling. Yeah. There's a lot of and everybody has, all of these lobbyist groups have various ideas of how it should go down. Amazon is one of them, but there's other people trying to shape the way cannabis is federally handled.
And there's also, please, we can't forget, because this is something that I always say whenever everybody's like, yeah, it's going to be legal soon. I'm like, but let's think about this, because every state is different. And I mean, in terms of like their weed level, not just their weed tolerance, their weed level. Just because New York and California or New York and Oregon or whatever are both adult use right now, it's still different, very different states in terms of their cannabis policies.
Up until this point, it has been a states' rights issue.
Yes.
So every state that has legalized in one way or another medical adult use over the last, I don't know how long it's been in California, like 25 plus years, that each state has developed their own infrastructure, their own rules and regulations. Will federal legalization, decriminalization address those issues at all, or is it going to be a sweeping sort of
what happened in Canada?
Federal, oh my God, federal reform.
That's what scares me.
Yes, that scares me too. It might keep me up at night.
It does keep me up at night, to tell you the honest to Godsies, because like in this article, it's a Politico article if anybody wants to find it. It talks about like how cannabis is the only industry that's been allowed to operate as states' rights in some capacity, either medicinal or recreational adult use for without having the permission from the government. So it's been legalized in more than half of the states. It's the only industry that's been legalized without the federal government giving its okay. And that makes it, sorry, my
That's okay.
falling.
Yeah,
That puts it in a different tier of stuff to deal with. There's a lot of stuff to deal with, and I think interstate commerce is a really, really big one, and that's where like Amazon kind of comes in. But how do we figure out how to tackle the interstate commerce where you're in New York? You probably don't even have enough weed to go legal, so you need weed from Oregon, who overgrew, but we can't do that right now federally, even though both those states are recreational. Oh, great. We'll blur the lines of export, import. Awesome. But how do we do that if some states, I don't know if Oregon does, but Colorado, those states have protections against that because they're protecting mom and pop. Because if you do go interstate, likely you're going to be using a big company that's big cannabis. We don't really love big cannabis.
It's not what we want. You know, if federal legalization happens, we really don't want federal overreach into an already sort of working system that we have. And well, speaking in California, but I'm sure they feel the same in Colorado and Washington and other states that were pioneers in the cannabis game. You know, the Fed is talking about really possibly, you know, giving control to the FDA, the DEA, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And there's a few other agencies in there.
We huffed and puffed about this a while back.
We did.
I don't even remember what it was or what to tell you to look for. But we talked about this. It's the Cannabis Administration and something. TS will tell you what it is.
The Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act.
We'll get into that more next. But we did talk about this, and
we did.
We'll kind of go over it in a minute. But it does kind of like play into this whole thing because as it stands now, the MORE Act doesn't say really where we're going to get our regulatory shit from. This place does. So
yes,
this bill or whatever it is does. And there's a lot of stuff under the MORE Act that kind of goes unnoticed because it's not in the language. So every little hole, you know, in California and most places, weed legislation, I have to turn off my air conditioner. Weed legislation is purposefully worded vague. This fills in all those vague things so that there really is no room for guessing. You know, it helps with banking, so it's kind of a good thing, but it also like doesn't say things with taxes and really does nothing for small businesses, and social equity completely falls by the wayside.
Will it be the death of small business, and then social equity is also falling by the wayside, which is you know, we talk about all the time, is very important, that social equity is written into all of the cannabis laws, and you know, we're righting the wrongs of the war on drugs. But you know, here's the thing, we have been in cannabis, it has been a states' rights issue for so long. Why that the federal government just can't come in and make these sweeping new federal regulations and then expect us to comply with them?
I mean, I think because it's like when, you know, when we saw all the regulations here, and I'm sure in the other states, like things that we knew to work and to like, you know, help cannabis be more available to the world, they came in and forced in their regulations. So irregardlessly, whether or not this is good for cannabis in the long run or not, it's still kind of a bummer when you're in the industry like we are, and you know that people are being like displaced because, and you've seen people be displaced because of adult use weed and their regulations that kind of just don't really care about social equity. They care more about getting the money sorted and not having it done any other way, aka black market. That's really what regulations are. I mean, you know, now with the MORE Act and shit, the only good thing is that we can take weed and actually dissect it and make sure we know what's good and what's not about it. Like, some people cannot smoke weed, and there's got to be a reason. So, you know what I mean? Some people get very sick from weed. Some people have psychosis. Some people have their cancer cured. Well, we need to find out why.
And well, okay. So what if the FDA is allowed to study cannabis?
That's going to happen.
And that will happen if this particular bill goes through.
Like Big Pharma?
Is Big Pharma going to be like, well,
no, there's already stuff on the market. My hope is that the cannabis industry will be different than the Big Pharma industry.
There's a lot going out there. Does the FDA ever really give a fuck about the American people?
No.
So why are we letting them be in charge of cannabis for monies?
Because that stuff to me is just so that they can make sure there's no illegal stuff going on. And if there is, they can make more money on raids and black markets. Rules are made so that you can break them and make money off of the people breaking them.
It's just more bureaucracy. Do we want the federal government and more bureaucracy within cannabis?
No, of course not.
There's more bureaucracy. There's going to be more bureaucracy in cannabis than there is in like any other fucking industry in the world. And
where I feel like it should, and I wish to the gods, anything above that, it would be seen as literally the opposite. Cannabis is so important right now to really take and look at without bureaucracy and red tape and regulations and fucking fines and, fees and licenses and, like they're saying in this article, like Oregon has like a bajillion licenses and they're like competition is healthy, and like New York has no fucking clue what they know or want. They're like, yeah, we want to see but they don't know. They haven't had an actual cannabis system in place as long as a place like California does. So our black market looks differently than New York's black market. So if the DEA is going to come in and cut down on stuff and get involved, that's a really, you're going to have to dedicate a lot of people to do that, because every state, and that's what I said in the beginning, every state is different when it comes to cannabis. That is why it should be the least bureaucratic. That is why the words should remain
It should
vague.
be...
It should be detailed on how to do social equity and how to right the wrongs that were fucking put in place with the drug war. And after that, let's make it a business, not this.
Well, on the federal level, if it was decriminalized, they just take it off the books. It's no longer an offense. And then let the states who are already doing it figure it out. But you're not, at the same time, you don't want to limit interstate commerce.
Because you could be like a state that's like, because there are states that have stuff in place that do limit that, and they may be grandfathered in. Like the legislation might be like, all right, if this has been working for you, like Colorado, if this has been working for you for this long, keep your weed. So it's like no importation, no exportation, or maybe it's just like very premium, like exotic grapes from the vineyard of California or something.
Oregon, who we've mentioned many times, has overgrown their state. So they immediately, they put on their books, as soon as it's legal, as soon as the federal government figures out interstate commerce, Oregon is ready to go. Everything's packed on trucks right now, and there's drivers standing by to ship Oregon's cannabis to all parts of the United States.
Your operator
They're
standing
on
by
this
to take your
right
call.
now to take your call.
Whatever state you are.
Whatever,
are you
yeah.
in need of cannabis?
We're here.
Are you going to be legal in 2 months?
The trucks are still running for legal purposes.
And that, maybe there is a world in which just a few states, just agreeing states, can say, okay, this is. There is a world where the MORE Act comes out, or the MORE Act is passed and is beautiful and is wonderful, and it's just not. It's gonna be bad. I don't know. I can't even picture it like being. The MORE Act comes out and all the people in the Congresses and the White Houses are like, have at it.
Just
sell your weed, make your states rich and plump, and your
coffers,
fix those roads.
Fat.
You do what you do, and we will stay out of it. What we will do though is we will allow science to do science, and we will allow. There is something that other thing we'll talk about that's like the effects of marijuana on the. It's their words, I think. The effect of marijuana on the human brain. Do it, like do all that stuff, but like maybe relax with the regulations and the quality of weed. And again, we'll talk about this, but that will go down because it will be mass produced. And I'm pretty sure you can't mass produce anything of quality in a huge scale.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just, I think that's just like the way it is.
If you want your quality craft cannabis, it has to be small batch.
Yes.
Small batch. All of everything.
Yes. And
Numbered. I'm going to need numbered batches. This is 1 of 1,008. Which actually used to happen. Like cream of the crop used to do that.
Yeah, they did.
It was like numbered. Then some they were like, this is a strain that may never exist again.
Which is neat,
But that's exactly what.
Yeah, I don't know. This was just interesting to me because it's like, on one hand, I've spent, because I haven't been like in it for, all during COVID really, and neither were you. So like we weren't really like talking about it, like seeing it again. And I guess maybe you working, not like anything's really changed so much in terms of like how we see things, but I guess maybe it was on the East Coast for too long and I was seeing things like, holy shit, I get to go to California and like walk out my door and get weed. Like that is like pretty neat. And I shouldn't be curmudgeonly because I was in New York with God knows what the hell I was doing. And that was really rough. Like I was like, we are, and I acknowledge all the time that we are in a bubble in California with the access that we have.
Yeah, for sure.
But more so hits you, and but now that I'm back and you're back working and living through you, I feel like I'm curmudgeonly again because I don't feel good about federal legalization as it stands. I don't feel good about it.
No, not at all.
And I don't like to say that. What do I want to say that? I don't want to say I don't feel good about weed being legal. Of course I don't want to say that.
We don't need more bureaucracy. We just need to take it off the list. Take it off the list and let the states operate how they're going to operate. Let us do some interstate commerce. Let us get our banks together. Let us do our banking together.
Cheech and Chong's ears. I just don't see that happening.
Mr. President Biden, we are available.
We have said from the beginning, we are available.
Chuck Schumer, we are available for consultations.
Mm-hmm.
We will fly to New York and
I'll
consult
be
you.
there in a couple months. I got you.
We're totally available
Uh-huh.
for your federal regulatory needs.
We know stuff. We know stuff from the horse's mouth.
We will fax you our resumes.
We've seen this. We've just seen this. We've seen such things happen. Hold on, I'm trying to find our commercials. We're gonna go to commercial in a second, and I'll find them. Mercury's and Gatorade. Oh man, I love saying that. I really do.
It's true though.
Makes me laugh. Yes, and it's true. And this is just how it goes. Okay, fine. All right. We're gonna go take a break. We'll be right back. Probably we're gonna talk about Amazon. So if you're interested in that, and you should be because it's a weird time that we live in. It is wonderful, and I could not be more grateful for it. But like, Amazon is in the weed business.
Yeah, they're gonna be. They're gonna be.
What is the world?
What business is Amazon not in?
That's a good point. We'll be right back.
Chilling in my chronic crib. Chronic crib? Yeah, the chronic crib, hustle. Double H. Where's the chronic crib?
I love Afro Man so goddamn much. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's Tiaz.
And that's Sasha.
And we're back on the Cool Nerd Weed Show on Adobe Radio. Thank you so much, Adobe Radio, for having us on your airwaves, letting us talk our jazz about cannabis. It's cool that the world is where it is, but T.S. and we have opinions, okay?
Yes, you might call us opinionated.
You might, and we do tend to be a little bit curmudgeonly because we are in the industry, and like TS has been in the industry for quite some time, not as long, but I was able to see it from the point of view of somebody who, it's like, you don't have rose-colored glasses, like weed, green-colored glasses. I don't have like emerald-colored glasses because I do know how great it is that it is where it is, but I also know what it was and what it could be and what I think is going to happen, which is not what it was. Does that make any sense? That was kind of like a step. I know you followed it.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I know you knew where I was going before I got there. That is the beauty of having your best friend as your co-host, as somebody who you've worked with in the industry for a while. And I just sold our advertisers. Are you listening? We were talking about them before. I just sold our show. We do like to be respectful to the industry. I think that's our thing. Is like, we're in it, so we're not just like critiquing it. We're not sitting here smoking it and being like, they're not opinions from nowhere.
This is what they should be doing. No,
we say that because it's truly out of love. Like, again, just like with sponsorships, with anything, with people, giving us stuff, it's out of love. It's a community here.
It's always been love for the plant.
Always. That's what, and I bet you'll go to any state and you'll find that California probably, like, I don't know, not to be like California love, but California is special in its weed community. I reckon other states are too. You tell us. Follow us on Twitter at Cool Nerd Weed and find us Cool Nerd Weed Show. DM us on Instagram because we do like to hear from other states. But we do feel like it is. It is the same. When you work in the weed industry, no matter where you are, more than likely, if you're not a Chad, you know who you are, Chads.
Yes.
If you're not a Chad, you are of the stump. You are part of us, and it's a family, and that's something that like doesn't get lost. It doesn't. That's why this shit is it's just like a bummer, and you don't want it to be a bummer. So we wanted to talk a little bit about Amazon and its involvement in the cannabis world. It's been coming up a bunch. We haven't really like talked about it.
We talked about Amazon back
like for a second.
July.
Yeah,
because
it was, like
June. It was June because Amazon announced that it would exclude cannabis from their comprehensive pre-employment drug screening program.
We might have done like a live on it.
We did, and excluding positions for like their pilots and other people that have to work in the
right that
regulated
have to, like,
by the Department of
machinery.
Transportation, like like their pilots, and so they've reinstated employment eligibility for former employees or applicants who were previously terminated or deferred during random or pre-employment marijuana screenings. So they're like calling these people back up. We're sorry. Amazon really needs employers, and you peed dirty.
Huh.
So, if you want to come back, there's a job for you, because we're no longer, whatever you do at home is your business. And if it involves cannabis, then, go ahead, give us a call and come out, because we need you. And we might need you even more, because who knows, is Amazon going to start delivering cannabis?
Well, I guess that goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show. I mean, unless it's like local delivery, you know what I mean? Unless it's, you know what I mean? Like, how are they going to get, like...
Well, Amazon has its own
It does have its own network
of, generally. Sometimes things come through other servers, but mostly all of the local stuff comes from
Yeah, but it never
local.
comes within the state. Like, everything I order that comes from Amazon is like from Texas or something. Or from China, honestly. But you know what I mean? That's the problem with Amazon, is that it's from everywhere. So isn't that how it killed mom and pop shops?
It is
because of interstate commerce.
It is, and it did, but Amazon's setting up hubs like everywhere now.
But
they're everywhere.
But those hubs have to get it from somewhere, and they're getting it from.
Let's say they get it from the local. Let's say I set up my Amazon shop.
You think they're going to the local
and I can sell
bookstore to get there?
No.
Or
but
you think they're going to the local Target to? What do you think they're doing? How do you think they're selling their whatever you get on Amazon? What did I just get on Amazon today? I got boxing gloves last week. Do you think they're getting their boxing gloves from the Habayusa outlet in?
Well, I got my groceries from Amazon.
Well, that comes from Whole Foods, because you can't.
That's what
because
I'm
that's
saying.
fresh. So you think they're going to treat it like a Whole Foods, like a fresh ingredient?
That's what I'm saying. It's like a fresh. It's in fresh ingredients.
So you think it's going to be like an Amazon Fresh
within the state? Exactly. That's what I think.
I think that's wishful thinking, my sweet.
Let's say
TS,
we have the
first,
Cool Nerd
third.
Weed Show brand. It's
No, listen, that would be great if they did that. No, that's
we have our own Amazon shop, and we can ship through Amazon anywhere within the state.
So because
isn't that some part of like how Amazon works?
I bet they're probably yes. I bet they're probably even working with the government already to try and figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure that Jeff Bezos has his minions, and
so it's probably even what we were
lobbyists.
talking about before, like how certain states will do it.
Certain states can probably do it and make it happen, but where they're not really talking about like shipping a California. An ounce of that California green into somebody in another Amazon state of like that it might be legal at the time once federalization happens.
So is that good then? If they do what you said,
if let's say a local company can set up their local grow and suddenly distribute to anybody through the internet.
Right.
Through just, through the app.
Locally.
Let's say I want to order from a company in Northern California, and I know they have some of the finest cannabis on the planet, and I live in Southern California, and they have their San Francisco Amazon hub, send it however Amazon does its shipping to Southern California, and I can pick up a local Sonoma Green Triangle grown ounce of green, and it's, I don't know, it'd probably be like $500 through Amazon. If you can support the locals, yeah, but I think the way most people are thinking is that Amazon's going to start buying up grows and maybe doing their
That's
own,
probably the route they're going to go. They're not going to start. I think the shipping thing is what everybody thinks immediately because that's what we use them for, but I don't think they're ever going to ship weed ever. I don't, unless like it just interstate commerce is just like everybody have at it. But I think it just gets because of what we were talking about in the beginning of the show. It's just so hard to figure out how to get through all of that. Yeah, but I think what you're saying is yes, they're going to do what Amazon does and just own everything. So if you do have a farm that's producing in small scale comfortably because you live in a state that protects your rights or whatever the fuck, or you know what I mean, but like Amazon can come in and say, well, like, that's cool, but we'll pay you $1 kajillion to take your farm, put you up in a mansion, and give you like $100,000 bajillion dollars to live for the rest of your life, and probably 1% of the profit of this farm. Would you take that? And most farmers today, because of how we treated farmers for so long, would be like, yeah, that sounds pretty great, you know. I can't blame anybody for wanting that deal when Amazon comes a knocking. But it's also like
Amazon could be white labeling your cannabis for, you know, buying up all of the Central Coast cannabis, and suddenly they're controlling the market and the flow of it all.
They could be white labeling your cannabis
because, you know, I don't know. I think I like the Whole Foods bottle better.
Yeah, what
of it all? There's still like, you know, Amazon owns Whole Foods, but they're still supposedly local and sustainable, and they have all those various degrees of sustainability.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll have some of the Amazon Whole Foods people on board.
Well,
I'm trying to be optimistic about this thing, but I think you know, I don't. If it could potentially put lots of small people out of business. Your local shops could, because you get everything through Amazon and online now.
Yeah.
What if you didn't have to go to your
what
local
if they
shop?
Started? Yeah.
It is fucked up.
It is. It's fucked up. It's also, you know, like it is something that I think I don't know if like I don't know what it looks like. Maybe it's nothing even insidious. You know, they haven't even said what they're going to do. They just have come out and said we support legalizing cannabis at the federal level. You know, maybe you're right. Maybe we're all just being cranky about Jeffrey Bezos and his greedy rich spaceways, and
his very phallic spacecraft.
His very smooth head and spacecraft. Maybe you know, because he's been shitty and done shitty things, we assume the accurate thing, which is he'll be shitty when it comes to cannabis. But maybe we're wrong, and maybe they're just like, we support it. They're not testing any more of their employees for cannabis. It's not going to be a thing that they do, they said. So that's cool, I guess. They're excited, they said in their official press release, about the country moving towards change and whatever the fuck. I think they're just being like, Jeffrey Bezos was the rule breakers. They're like whatever, you know, whatever the hell they're saying, I'm sure is what they're saying. I don't know. I'm again, like, I'm pretty sure that means something. I think it means something crappy because they, in their press release about cannabis, they specifically mentioned the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, and that's what I was talking about before. I don't quite love all the language in there. I don't quite love the fucking all those all those organizations getting involved with cannabis, and I don't quite love the taxation of grows so much that they're doing. I don't quite love a lot of that stuff, and that is again where they're poking, where there's holes or vagueness in the MORE Act. This is where this act kind of comes in and says like, oh no, here's the money, and oh no, here's the thing that we're gonna do that's gonna make it like more under the government's like watch and thumb, and oh no, here's the stuff that like you didn't see because you saw the MORE Act and Chuck Schumer being like, you gotta pass this is great for the country, and it is. But then there's the things like social equity falling by the wayside because of mom and pop shops going away, because of Amazon buying up everything.
How could you even establish any social equity if you're going to put somebody who has been disparaged by the war on drugs, and then suddenly you're going to put them on the board of directors on Amazon? Like that shit doesn't make any sense. You need to help people build small businesses in their communities, and Amazon is not really about that, building small businesses in your community. They're about building gigantic warehouses.
They're about themselves.
And
they may give the person who worked at that farm or grow a job, but it will not be at that farm and grow. It will be where they see fit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Amazon doesn't create jobs, but you know, like, it's a job that, like, I feel like a lot of people were like, well, I did this and then Amazon came in, so now I do this, you know? So I don't see that being different for weed. In fact, I see it being like a bajillion times worse than anything, because there's nothing like the weed industry in the whole world. So I can see, I don't know, it's like the worst thing. Like, it's like clay that hasn't been molded yet, and they can take it and do something unprecedented. And Canada it was not fun to watch that happen up there. I knew it was going to be bad. I remember, you could probably find the show where we talk about it and you're like, Canada's got it right. I was like, what?
And then people are like, my cannabis is coming from the mailman, and it's moldy.
And I appreciate your optimism. Well, I do. And I feel like you're being way more cautious with your optimism this time around, and I appreciate it. But I do have a little bit of discomfort with this, and I feel like it's hard for me to articulate why, but it's just because I feel like it's a shit show, and the people who really need it won't get it or won't be able to distribute it, and the people who just want to get rich off of a fad or what they think is a fad will do that and leave. You know?
Yeah. This is not the hula hoop.
No, I don't think, and I think that, like, investors, I think they think it is. I think they think this is something like that. And I also think they think it's something you get people addicted to. And I don't think they understand how weed works. I really don't. I really just think that's the issue.
I don't know. Amazon's got like the money and the power and the lobbyists and the ear of political officials to actually get this thing done. This is the sad part of it all. You know, they can get shit done. They can mold.
That does make me sad.
Mold the federal regulations in a way that benefit Amazon, and that's what's really disappointing in all of this. And people are saying that Amazon's going to come in irregardless, and drink your espresso on this, but that we should all just get over it. But we should be aware of what's happening in the cannabis industry and be vigilant. And
that's what we're trying to do.
Right.
We're trying to do it. We don't want this to happen before our eyes. We would like to see cannabis be federally legalized in a way that isn't detrimental to the core of the industry. That's it. That's all.
Just that little bit.
That's government.
That's all we're asking.
It's all we're asking, lady government. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I made it. Okay, we're going to take a break. And then we're going to come back with the final Huff and Puff that's actually going to be like some cheery stuff.
I think we should play a song.
Yeah, we're going to do that too.
Okay,
we'll be right back.
The final Huff and Puff with TS and Sasha.
It's the final Huff and Puff with TS and Sasha, just like that guy said. On the Cool Nerd Weed Show. Today, we're going to end with some things that are like not such a bummer. We weren't a bummer today, but it was just like, it was a reality check. It just reminded me we still got a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of work to do, friends.
Always work to do in the cannabis industry. So,
fellow nerds, we're going to talk about, this is just adorable. So I've never been to the state fair, but I love state fairs in every state. I fucking love state fair. Maybe it's because I'm from a city, so I don't really get to enjoy the joys of a big weird state fair with the works, So whenever we had the Meadowlands State Fair, that shit was my shit.
I did a state and county fair tour.
No, you didn't.
I did.
With who? Just yourself? It was just.
It wasn't just me. It was. It's a well-known boy band that's named after a temperature.
Do your own research. Do your research.
Do your research, people. Who are you and what do you do?
That's adorable.
Do your
and
research.
State fairs are just like, they could be sloppy for sure, but they're just a lovely time. It's just lovely when you go to a state fair. It's like, it's kids, it's teenagers, it's kids of all ages. It's peeps like myself. I mean, like TS and I go to Disneyland and shit like that. So we are into these sorts of things. We like
rides and eating cotton candy.
Just junk food, walking for 45 miles a day, being so tired you're sore, being dehydrated as fuck. And then when you're high, it's even better. Just don't go on any rides when you're high. It might make you sick. Just putting it out there. So this is just adorable. The California State Fair is coming up, right?
Yeah, they're going to do the first ever cannabis competition at the California State Fair.
That makes me so happy.
I think it's in Sacramento, where it would be. There's a lot of farmers around Sacramento in the Central Coast in Northern California, and the competition is open to all licensed growers in California with 3 classifications. They are entered in. And
it's not coming up. It's in the summer next year.
Oh, it's not. It's next summer.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean.
It's coming up.
The summer's over.
Yeah.
Summer's coming up.
Summer is coming up.
After fall and winter.
It was the fall equinox, so it's technically the longest time, I think, before summer, then it'll be like...
Well, mark it on your calendars.
We couldn't be more wrong about the fair. Either way, the fair is it's coming.
Fair is happening.
And this is actually really
next
cool.
Year.
This is the first time ever you can submit your cannabis to be showcased.
And
because
for sure.
The story, I guess, behind this is that like a lot of farmers submit their shit. You go eat the pies, you go eat the fucking strawberries and the
corn
here in California,
and the avocados.
Oh, I have never been to one, but I have homies who go, and they'll bring me all the rations, and just everything is so fresh and delicious and just like happy, and it just tastes like fucking life. I swear to God. Meadowlands has that too, but it tastes a little bit different than California like freshness.
This is going to be huge because it's indoor mixed light or mixed lumen and outdoor cannabis. So think of the best of the best of the licensed grows in California being featured at the state fair.
That excites me.
It does.
I want to go.
And they're giving out. It's based on levels of cannabinoids, terpenes, concentration, and they will be giving out 77 bronze, silver, and gold, double gold medals, and including the Golden Bear Trophy for the best in California.
That's awesome.
What if you're the best in California? How your stock
judged by the state fair?
Judged by the state fair,
which is. Probably. I mean, you could be the High Times best in California, or you could be the state fair.
How do we get that gig to be judges of the state fair?
I mean, either one, like either any judge in any cannabis competition is desirable, because no matter how they're won, you're still smoking that weed.
If you're a judge, you're the real winner.
Exactly. So just yeah, man. Yeah, I wonder who's getting those gigs. It's probably like some pretty master. I would hope so. I hope they don't put like Chad Medman on there, and I hope it's like. I just hope it's like a cultivator,
like a celebrity panel. You should have a celebrity panel, and then
at the Hall of Flowers there was like some awards given out, and there was some legit growers. I don't know if you saw at the Hall of Flowers.
Oh yeah, there's. I feel like that's where usually they're in NorCal. They're like the people
there was some. There was. It just made me think of that because I feel like they would be involved. You know what I mean? A lot of the NorCal homies that like just know how to grow good weed that could be at a state fair. Imagine like a pie eating competition and then also like a joint rolling station.
This is sanctioned by the state.
That's what I'm saying. Could you imagine being at the state fair and like walking by a
booth that has
being like, oh cool, I'll get some jam, and oh cool, let me get an eighth of fucking locally beautifully sourced weed from the state fair.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That is good news.
That's a beautiful thing.
That is the only good news thing we have time to talk about, but it is okay because I think I want to end on that note. It was wonderful to get real with the world today because we had to. We had to tell you because you are a friend. And it's important to be honest. And TS and I are nothing if we are not honest about the industry. And you can follow us on Twitter at Cool Nerd Weed, and you can follow us anywhere else at Cool Nerd Weed Show. We have videos coming up very soonsies, and we'll probably be doing a couple lives this week if you want to go on our Instagram and find that. And
don't panic.
It's organic. I almost said stay medicated.
Yeah, we want to thank you so much for being a beautiful audience. Thank you very much. We'll be back real soon. Y'all take care, and remember, unity forever, please.